Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. So we are Force from Iron. I am joined by my esteemed co-host on this segment, which is Hammer's Shocks, which is controversial thoughts and opinions from West Ham supporters. We've got West Ham online. How are you, sir?
Very good. I've been looking forward to this. I put up the story earlier and I saw quite a few stinkers immediately, which I sent to you. And I done a few of them as polls actually. And let's just say around 95% were in the favour of the popular people, let's just say.
Yeah, there was a couple of controversial ones, I got to say. So also joining me today is Andy. How are you, sir? Oh, I think you're muted,
Oh,
mate.
you're muted, Andy.
It's all right. I'll move on. Cahill, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. I've been looking forward to this one as well. I very much enjoyed last week, so it'd be nice to see some opinions.
Yeah, well, we got
Yeah.
quite a lot of people that contributed to West Ham. Oh, you with us, Milesy?
Yeah, sorry.
Yep, that's all right, mate. No problem at all. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I've had to go like a kid again. I've got a really important meeting at work tomorrow, so I've had to have a shave. I don't like it.
Little
Actually,
Did you put a splash of brute round the chops?
I can't remember the last time I used aftershave, so yeah, it was even more sour, I think.
What can you do? Just diving into the comment section, we got Charlie Boy. Good evening from Brooklyn, fellas. Oh, blimey. We're going transatlantic. Welcome, Charlie. How are you, sir? Hope you're well.
Miami
Okay.
twice. Who's Del Boy?
Bonnet de douche. So we got a couple of good ones, didn't we? West Ham online. So I'm going to start with this one. We're
Do you
going
want to do your little
round.
message first?
Oh, yes,
Gatesy?
I do apologise. Thank you for reminding me, West Ham Online. So for the guys that are watching this live and for the people that follow, we at Falls from Iron are putting our weight behind this campaign for Isla Caton to get the treatment she needs to save her life. She is a 6-year-old girl battling neuroblastoma. This is a really rare but aggressive form of cancer for which she cannot get treatment on the NHS. So her family have got to take her wherever around the world to get the treatment to save her life. They got to pay for the treatment, the flight costs, they've got to pay for accommodation, all the living costs, as well as all the bills that are still coming in the UK. Really stressful. In the middle of a pandemic, you're going through this, it's far from ideal. So we at Falls from Iron would like to implore you guys, you've got a PayPal page, you've got a Just Giving page, and we would ask you to please give generously as possible. No donation is too small. Whatever you can put into the pot will be appreciated. We would also ask you if you could take this message, all the information on it, and share it amongst your friends, your family, your work colleagues. We need to try and get the momentum behind this appeal because it's no exaggeration to say, and I keep saying it and I'll keep on saying it, that every day counts, guys. The clock is ticking for this little girl, and this really shouldn't be happening. So we need to try and come together and get this sorted. Thank you very much indeed for listening. So the first one that I picked out of, there was loads, wasn't there, West Ham Online? I could have picked a couple. And you guys that are watching on the live chat, if there's any that you can think of that you have maybe thoughts on West Ham, in your opinion, that you think might be a little bit unpopular, a little bit controversial, this is your platform to air it, please do. So first one I've picked out, Noble of 2016 is greater than Souček of 2020. Discuss. We'll come to Cahill first of all. What are your thoughts?
It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
He had a good season, though, Noble, that year.
He had a great season, but he didn't have the impact that suits. We were in a relegation battle before we got Souček in, and I know we've had a great run of form since him and Bowen came in. Just if you just count that as a whole time in general, we've been a very good team since probably February, March of last year, and I think Noble was. I think that was probably his best season for us, but it doesn't match Souček's impact on our team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Souček, from deep lying midfield to get 11 goals is, pretty special, I have to say.
It's mad. It's madness. Like.
Scott's had his say. He said he was too good for England. I'll tell you what, that year, if there was ever a time, in my opinion, I know we're sort of making the comparison to Souček, but I think, in my opinion, if ever there was a time that Noble should have got a call up, it should have been at least then, even if he didn't sort of step foot on the pitch, just a call up.
I think he could have played for us as well.
Yes,
I think a lot of people could have. Yeah, his grandparents or something. He could have played for us.
That's right. Yeah, they were.
He said
Kevin Nolan.
He said he didn't want to rob. He could have played for Ireland, but he didn't want to rob a kid whose dream of playing for Ireland,
which is also very respectable to him.
Yeah,
yeah. I thought that was
too many
really top
midfielders now. Oh, it's class. We've too many of them now. That's our issue.
Yeah, I mean, he openly said, when I was growing up, I had posters of England players on my bedroom wall. He didn't really have Republic of Ireland players, so he sort of thought to himself, well, it would be a little bit sort of wrong of me to then go out and represent a country that growing up I didn't really have designs on doing. And as West Ham Online said, taking it away from someone that maybe could have had that opportunity. And
very noble of him, wasn't it?
Very
something
noble of
Rice
Noble.
didn't do. Something Rice didn't do, we have to admit.
Oh, that might be one for another show, West Ham Online. We might well revisit that one, but for now we'll just stick with Noble. So, Andy, your thoughts?
It sounds really horrible because I love Noble, but that's just a bit of an insult to Souček, in my opinion. I don't want to sound like really harsh, but no, for what Noble done that season, obviously he took the armband off of Noble. Bilic gave him it. In my opinion, I was surprised he got it, even though he has been vice captain and stuff like that. Obviously, with a lot more players being older, even though Bonner was just coming into the club, I think Bonner's a great captain, and where he's with his Juventus territory Italian, I thought he may have took the armband, but no, that season he was amazing. I remember he was just pinging passes for fun, wasn't he? That season, I think he got a few assists, but no, there's no comparison in him. But what a player! I can't say. I've got to admit, I have been his critic, but no comparison to me.
I think the 2016 version of Mark Noble, I think, in my opinion, was the best version of Mark Noble that we've seen. Is he comparable to Thomas Souček? With the greatest of respect, and again, same as you guys, I've got the greatest respect and love and admiration for Mark Noble and what he's done, his loyalty and everything else that he's brought to West Ham United over the 17 odd years that he's been a first team player. But if we're comparing Noble in 2016 to Souček over 2020, and I'm guessing that contributor also includes 2021. They probably just didn't articulate it very well. For me, I don't think that Noble wins that battle, but Noble in that year, as I say, I think he should have been pulled up for the England squad ahead of the Euros, if not the Euros itself. But yeah, that's not a comparison that washes.
To be honest, Gatesy, I'm glad he didn't get called up for England, because he would have been the scapegoat because that was a poor tournament. He would have been the scapegoat for that, in my opinion. It would have. Yeah.
Even if he'd have been on the bench and never stepped foot on the pitch, it would have all been Mark Noble's fault.
Yeah.
He's a Jonah. Moving on from that, and this is sort of in a similar territory. Souček is overrated by our fans. So we'll come to West Ham Online first of all on this one. Take it away, my friend. Your thoughts?
I don't think he is at all. If anything, I'd actually say he's overrated by neutrals when they say he's better than Rice. By our fans, he certainly isn't overrated. If anything, after seeing you people, a lot of the unpopular opinions was about Souček, so maybe he's underrated by our fans. But I don't think that one's true. Souček's deserved to be in the recognition for Hammer of the Year. As you said, he's in double digits for goals, and he's a defensive midfielder. He's in the top 1 percentiles in Europe for all-round play as a midfielder. Near the top of the stats for his defensive contribution and near the top of the stats for his attacking contribution as well. So, yes, he's not the best, like, aesthetically pleasing footballer. Occasionally he has the touch of a wardrobe, but for overall impact, he's fantastic.
Fair enough. Do you think that, and this is something I'm going to put to the other guys, do you think that Souček and Rice as a partnership complement each other so perfectly that they're made to look better than they actually are, and they're good individually, but they're made to look even better because of the presence of the other one alongside them?
I think Rice is just fantastic. I think Rice could play brilliantly no matter who he plays with. I think Souček is definitely made to look better, slightly better by Rice. What I mean by that is that Rice is so good defensively that he just says to Souček, go on, go forward. You'll see, even though Noble's done really well since he's come into the team, Souček hasn't been given as much freedom going forward. So, I think Souček is brilliant, but a lot of that brilliance is down to Rice.
Fair enough. Cahill, your thoughts, please.
He's definitely not overrated. As online said, he is. I think other fans might overrate him because all they see is the goals and they see he's a good player on FIFA and all that. But he's definitely not overrated by us. He's as I said, like he's completely transformed our team into what, like, him and Bowen coming in have completely transformed us from relegation fight to where we are now. Because when Rice was playing with just Noble there, Rice still looked great, but Rice hasn't started to get the appreciation he's getting until he had Souček beside him. I don't know if it's because Souček complements him so well, or is it just because we were in lockdown and people were watching any football match they could get and they just realised how good Rice was. But he suits us so well. I couldn't see him fitting into a team like Bayern Munich or anything higher because he's not nothing aesthetically pleasing. He's not a technically amazing footballer, but he's just efficient. He has great impact, solid defensively, and he just works simply for our team.
Fair enough. Milesy, over to you on this one. But before I do, we've got someone that's just popped into the green room. Hello.
Hello.
Is that you, Scott?
No,
that's
Milo.
That's
Milo.
Who's
Milo.
often on the podcast.
Got
Hello.
it. Do apologise. Welcome. How are you?
I'm decent, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. We'll come to you in just a moment. We'll just pass this one over to Andy, and then you can have a little dissect of this particular opinion. So, Milesy, talk to me.
If I had to pick who Nova would play with as a partnership, if anyone was out, I think I prefer Noble to play with Souček.
Okay.
The reason for that is because Rice, to be fair, he doesn't go forward as much as what Souček does. So I think Souček still has that command and instinct to know when to go forward. So when we're like the Leicester game, we were still effective. It's because Souček was going forward. But if it was Noble and Rice, I think we would have struggled against Leicester, in my opinion. That might be a bit controversial. Maybe that could be a discussion. But no, with regards to Souček being overrated, no, not for me. You don't like what West Ham Online said. In both boxes is a threat. His leadership skills, and I think he's a very off the pitch. I can't say I'm an expert on it, but from what I've been told, him and Soufal are great in the dressing room. The fact that they train even on their days off, they're going to training and stuff like that, and I think that's echoed across the whole team, and I think that's another reason why we've been doing so well.
Fair enough. Milo, your thoughts on this one, my friend?
No, Souček is not overrated. I think that people's opinions of him, not just West Ham fans, but other fans in general, they've kind of gone down because he hasn't been scoring as much. And I understand why, but he's still a fantastic player. He's a box-to-box midfielder. Like I said, he may not be scoring as many goals as he did when he first joined us, but he's still a class player to watch in that partnership with Noble. Obviously, him and Declan, when they play together, they are absolute class. But because Souček's not scoring as many goals as he used to. People kind of, overlook him now rather than what they did when he was scoring goals for fun. But I personally think he's not overrated at all in any way.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't see. My personal opinion is Thomas Souček. Obviously, Rice is the better of the two, in terms of what they bring to the party. I don't think that's up for debate. However, I think that Thomas Souček, again, like I say, I think that Declan Rice looks a better player with him alongside him, and I think that Declan Rice would look world class even with another player, alongside him, no matter what their ability was. He would still shine, but Declan Rice is allowed to maybe go up a notch or two. So yeah, I think that Thomas Souček, and like I say, you've got 11 goals from deep lying midfielder. It's kind of difficult to sort of like say, to overstate exactly what he's done there. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't tend to happen too often from a deep lying midfielder. We've got a Facebook contributor. For those of you watching on Facebook, just to let you know, we can only see what we've got here. So I don't know who has just made this comment, but you can go to streamyard.com/Facebook and you can press the button there that will allow your details to be seen by us, so we'll know who you are, because otherwise this is what we get. It says, Facebook user says, Souček is quality. The way he plays makes our team so much more solid and gives JB, I think, Jared Bowen and AJL for freedom.
And J-Ling's freedom, I reckon he meant.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. No problem. Yeah, I mean, I agree. And Scott's chipped in. Souček has got to be worth 50 to 60 million now. Easily. No doubt about it. So, I believe that's Paul Hayden, you say, Andy, in the chat.
Yeah.
Facebook
I didn't mean that. Yeah. Comment above. I didn't mean block it. I don't know if you saw that.
No, that's cool. Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
So Paul, thanks for your contribution there, my friend. As I say, if you want your name and your profile picture to be displayed, just go to, like I say, streamyard.com/Facebook, and you can any of you Facebook users can let us know who you are. Okay, next one that you can chew over, gentlemen. So I'll let Milo have first dibs on this one. So 2017 Lanzini was as good as current Lingard, but he just didn't score as many.
2017 Lanzini was amazing. I remember watching him. He was different gravy. But with Lingard, obviously, he hasn't played for months. And then he's come back into this West Ham team and he's scoring goals for fun. But for me, I think the way Lingard plays, it's not just when he scores goals, it's just how he moves the ball, his link-up play with everyone in his team. I've personally got to say that Lingard is better than 2017 Lanzini. Despite how good he was, I just think that Lingard tops it for me, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So you can your thoughts on that, West Ham Online? You say you agree with it, but put a bit more meat on the bones.
I think this was the worst one I've seen, if I'm honest. I thought it was horrific.
Yeah, I thought you might.
Yeah. I mean, 2017 Lanzini, although he was, once again, another footballer who was aesthetically pleasing, great with the ball at his feet.
Yeah.
He wasn't exactly a numbers player, was he? Lingard brings what Lanzini brings on the ball, but also can actually hit a barn door. Lingard's got 8 goals in 9 games. That's just how you can say Lanzini is as good as that is beyond me, because that's better than Lanzini's ever done in a full season. So yeah, I don't think he is. Well, I know he isn't as good as Lingard is now. Lingard right now is probably our best performing player at the moment. Lanzini back then was always a nearly player. We was thinking he's nearly going to be the next Payet, if you get what I mean. Like when Payet left, we all thought he was the next player to step up. Unfortunately, he never really did. So in terms of potential, he could have been as good as Lingard is now, but really he just about matched John Joe Shelby in the end.
Fair enough. I'm just, before we sort of move this on, I'm just going to throw this one out. because I've said this to a couple of friends of mine, and I don't mean to be controversial, but that's kind of what this show's about, isn't it? You know, causing a little bit of a conversation. How many games in all the time that he's been with us can you honestly say that Manuel Lanzini has gone out there and owned? I'm struggling.
Probably five.
Yeah.
I'd say.
And how long's he been with us? What, now 5-6 years? And I appreciate he was off, you know, there was the injury and this, that, and the other. But you'd kind of like, I mean, you know, I would suggest that Dimitri Payet owned more games in a year and a half than Lanzini has done in his entire time with us.
100%.
Which kind of tells its own story, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. There's no way you could even debate that one. Lanzini's, as you said, he's always been an early player. He's always had the potential, and there's always sort of rumors, paper talk about bigger teams sniffing around for him, but he's never shown himself to be good enough for them.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with what Kent said there.
He's very form based. I think he's. I know this is great form by Lingard that's up now, but I think that, what is it, 8 or 9 games of good form is longer than Lanzini ever had.
Yeah. If I could quickly throw you all of Lanzini's performances where you've really gone, wow, he was great today. I want to see if there's genuinely more than this. I'd say Everton on the final game of the season. I think it was 17-18. Yeah.
Yeah, Moyes' last game.
Yeah, that game. Huddersfield 4-1 when he got 2 goals. Liverpool 3-0 win at Anfield. When he scored at Tottenham in the 1-0 win in 16-17, and Stoke away in 17-18. Those are the only 5 I can think of personally.
Yeah. If any of you guys watching live want to put anything in the live chat, any of your comments and opinions on any of the subjects that we covered tonight, or any of your own little points that you want to make, please do so. Please get involved. So who hasn't? I've lost track. Who hasn't had their say on this particular one before we move on?
Cathal, do you want to add anything else, mate? Or are you done?
No, I think I've said what's needed to be said. I think altogether we've all come to an opinion on that one.
Fair enough. We move on now. This is again a similar ballpark. Jesse Lingard is better than Dimitri Payet. Cathal, you go first.
As a player, no. It's like impact wise, maybe he's getting all these goals and all, and he looks better, but he's like that doesn't say like he's contributed better or anything. It says is better, and he definitely is not better than Dimitri Payet at his time at West Ham, at least. It's hard to say anything else, really. It's just like, I wouldn't say it's chalk and cheese because they're 2 top quality players, but Payet just like Lingard's not going to come in the top 20 or whatever it is for the Ballon d'Or. That's for sure. And Payet went to international football. I know Lingard's gotten recalled, but Payet was ripping it up in the Euros, one of the best players there when he was with us. It's sad thinking about it because he was just so good. He was one of the best players in the world. Lingard's one of the best players in the Premier League on form. Payet did it as long as he was fit.
Yeah, I think if, in my opinion, I mean, what the impact that Jesse Lingard's had has been absolutely phenomenal. I don't think you can argue it any other way. But it's what, 8-9 games? So Dimitri Payet did it, and I know the second half or the half season he had with us was maybe not at the same standard as the last season at the Boleyn, but even so, I mean, he still scored some pretty tidy goals. I mean, I remember that one against Middlesbrough at London Stadium, and this was a Dimitri Payet that everybody said,
for Antonio, the Rabona.
Yep, the Rabona. Yeah. I mean, and that was a Lanzini, a Payet that was, by all accounts, a little bit disgruntled and disenfranchised with the situation around him. So, but he still produced some fantastic moments. For me, for Jesse Lingard to actually take possibly the mantle that Dimitri Payet possibly holds now, even despite how he left, for me, Jesse Lingard needs to sign in the summer and replicate this form for an entire season. And if he can do it in the Champions League, then I would say that possibly that statement becomes a little bit more credible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
What?
who we got? Milo, did you want to get your teeth into that one?
Yeah, I've got to disagree with that one. Because in this case, we're comparing a player who's played 9 games for us. And obviously, he's done really well with that. He scored 8 goals in 9 games or whatever it was. But we're also comparing him to a player who's had about a season and a half. You're comparing a player who's played 9 games to a player who's played a season and a half at the club. And I'd say, like you said, if we want to agree with that, then see not only if he signs next year, but if he can continue his great form that he's doing now. So if we do sign him on a permanent, which I do believe we will, despite all the Man United contract offers, if we sign him in the summer and he keeps up this amazing form, I think he could maybe become better than Payet. I'm not too sure though, because Payet, like you said, the last season at the Bolem, I don't think there was not that many players in the Premier League that were better than him. At that time, he was one of the best players in the world in the Prem. You know, he was that good. But with Lingard, he's doing so well. He is 100% up there as one of the best players in the Prem. But you can't compare him to Payet, in my opinion.
No, I think it's probably a bit early to make that comparison. Who have we got? Andy, you haven't had a say on this one yet, have you?
No, I can understand why they're comparing it, but we're not where we are just because of Lingard. We were 4th before Lingard signed.
Yep.
So I think that's the reason. And Payet for me, when I was over at the last season, at Upton Park, that was just amazing. Like every time he got the ball, you didn't know what he was going to do. So no, like you said, if Lingard signs and he keeps up that form for a year or so, the same amount of goals. But I think at the end of the season, if we are playing European football properly, then you can maybe say that as well, because he went that better on than what Payet managed to do. We've got European football, so yeah, next year for me.
Yeah, I think especially if he's doing it in the top European competition. I mean, I can't believe I'm actually saying this and it being no irony or sarcasm on my point, where I'm actually contemplating that we could play Champions League football next season, but that's where we are. You know, if Dimitri Payet, if Jesse Lingard plays Champions League football and tears it up in the Champions League, that's something that Dimitri Payet never had the opportunity to do in Claret and Blue. So if Jesse Lingard did it, then...
Can I just add something now? I think Dimitri Payet is probably 2 of Jesse Lingard now as well. Have you seen the latest pictures of him?
yeah. We know. When the song "Who Ate All the Pies," now we know.
And they're sponsored by Uber Eats.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, that's quite ironic. I love that. But who've we had that's not yet had their say on that particular one before we move on, gents? Just lost track.
I haven't really.
Go for it, West Ham Online.
What I'll quickly say is, before I actually go into my point, if Lingard kept up this form that he has in this 9 games over a whole season, it wouldn't even be a comparison, because he'd have about 32 goals and 17 assists. So, I mean, that would be the best Premier League season in history if he did that. The thing is, of course, that's not going to happen, whether you like it or not. Lingard's been phenomenal, but Dimitri Payet, whenever he got the ball, it was like watching Neymar last night. I'm not sure who watched PSG last night, but every single time he gets the ball, he just spins a player, he chips it over someone's head, he just does a Rabona, something like that. That's things that Lingard can go missing in periods of games. Payet, in all honesty, carried the team for large proportions of the season. And when he played, we drew more games than we won. I think we drew 5 out of 6 games when he wasn't playing. So yeah, it was. I don't think they're comparable. Even if Lingard outscored him by lots and lots, and his stats looked far superior. It's like when people try to compare Mo Salah and Eden Hazard, because Eden Hazard's best goal scoring season in Prem history is 17, and Salah's is 32. The fact is, Hazard's a much better footballer on the ball than Salah is, and that's the sort of thing I mean. In terms of overall footballers, Payet's probably the best that we've seen at West Ham for a good 20 years.
Yeah, I'd say so. Now, West Ham Online, I know you want to make a point on something, but before we move on to that, can we just, because Kent makes a really interesting point, and I just want to sort of bat it across between us. He says, could Jesse Lingard's form be because of him having an England squad to aim for? Could it drop dramatically after the Euros, and if we sign him and he becomes comfortable at the club? So I'll start with you, West Ham Online. What's your thoughts on Kent's point he makes there?
He definitely wants to get in the Euros. Don't get me wrong. That was definitely one of the reasons why he joined West Ham. But you've got to remember, he clearly is enjoying it, because he's putting pictures of the London Stadium on his story every day, posing with Rice and Noble. And you'll see after we beat Wolves and Leicester, the way Moyes reacts with Lingard. So it's clearly not just because he wants to get in the England squad. I'd argue he really wants to get West Ham in the top 4, and if we do, I think he'd definitely join the club. So I think he's really enjoying life at West Ham, but obviously I don't know him personally, and I can't really speak for him.
Fair enough. Milo, your thoughts, mate? You there?
Hello?
Hello, Milo. Oh, okay, we'll come to you then, Milesy.
And
even if it.
Oh.
I think he's having dodgy Wi-Fi.
Has he got your internet supplier? Has he?
Yeah, yes.
All right, we'll let Milesy have a crack at this one.
I really don't care, even if it is to do with England and he signs. There's a World Cup next year as well, so he'll be wanting to do well and play for that one. So for me, I think that's having a player with that ambition and wanting to play for the country will be a benefit for us, in my opinion.
Yeah, Cahill, your thoughts on that one, mate?
I think he's way too mature to be just sort of aiming for things like that. I think he knows what it's like to be at the bottom of the pile, and now that he's back there, I don't think it's just a selfish sort of I want to play for England sort of thing. I think he's definitely as happy. This is probably as happiest he's ever been with football, and it's the best he's ever played consistently. He knows he has his place here. He knows he's loved. I like, of course, his form could drop. Like, we're not expecting him to be the best player in Premier League history if he does sign for us, but we just expect sort of the heart and the effort, and I definitely think he's not just doing it for himself and to try get into an England squad.
Fair enough. Are you back with us, Milo? You sorted out your gremlins?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was having internet problems. I think
not a problem, mate.
I think that is partially the reason, but I think the other reason at the same time is him not playing for years, and now he's come out to West Ham and he's playing week in, week out, and now he's got something to prove. He's got to prove all United fans wrong. He's got to prove Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wrong. He's got to just show he's still the player who, you know, everyone knows and loves, and the good version of Jesse Lingard, not the one that was getting paid to not even be involved in the United squad. And I think this has helped him as a player, 100%. But also, like West Ham Online was saying, he clearly loves the club from all the stuff he posts on his Instagram. And people usually judge Lingard off of the stuff he posts on his Instagram, like the J-Link stuff and that. But I think
Hmm.
because they're taking that into perspective instead of how he actually plays, I think that sometimes he is overlooked as a player because people still overrate him because of his social media. But like I said, he some of it is to do with the England thing, but some of it is to do with not playing for years, and now he's come in and he's playing week in, week out, and look how good he's doing. Definitely one of the best players in the Prem, and he's proven everyone wrong now, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. We've got someone that's just dropped into the green room. I'm just going to pull him in now. He's back for more. Irish Tommy, how are you, sir?
Good evening, chaps. How we doing?
Good,
All
good.
good. All good in the hood. Before we move on to West Ham Online, as I know you've been waiting patiently, mate, but we'll just bat this across to Tommy before we come back to a point that you wish to bring up. Got this point from Kent Hammers, Tommy. Could Jesse Lingard's form be because of him having England squad to aim for? Could it drop dramatically after the Euros? And if we sign him and if he becomes comfortable at the club? Your thoughts?
No, I don't think it'll drop off to the point where we don't recognise him anymore. Look, obviously his current form, that's difficult to keep up over the course of a full season. But I take Kent's point because I think that's what happened with Payet, to be honest. I think we got Payet at the perfect time to get Payet. Because Didier Deschamps, if you remember at the time, didn't have him in the French squad because he considered him to be inconsistent. You know, everybody knew what a talent he was in France, but he just didn't show it nearly enough. And so in that 15-16 season, Payet was desperate to be involved in the Euros in 2016 as part of the French squad. And so his motivation was absolutely huge. He wanted to prove to Didier Deschamps that he could play at a high level week in and week out. And that's what he was doing for us. And that was his motivation. And we saw what it meant to him when he scored the winner late on against Romania in their opening group game. You know, he was running over to the sideline like crying, you know. So timing is part of why Lingard is so motivated right now, I believe. And yes, it's possible if he reestablishes himself in the England team that you might see a little bit of a drop off. But I think he's so talented, and the role that he's playing at West Ham suits him so much. I think he would still be a very, very good player for us. But you know, the way he's playing right now, I think it would be difficult for any player to maybe keep that going over an entire season or over a 2-season span. But let's not forget, there is a lot of competition for those kind of attacking midfield positions with England. And the World Cup comes in the summer of 2022. So he can't rest on his laurels next season. You know, he'll be desperate to go to the World Cup in the summer of 2022 with England. You know, he won't want to fall out of the squad because there will be pressure from other players. So I think he's still well worth buying, and I don't worry that we'll see such a drop off next season that it will be like, you know, a different player. Like where's the Lingard of last season? I think he'd be fine actually.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Tom. I think that yes, maybe he has got the Euros to aim for, but you're quite correct in pointing out that the following summer is the World Cup, so he can't afford to let his form drop off significantly because otherwise he'll be missing the plane to Qatar. So, yeah, no, good point. Okay, West Ham Online, you wanted to raise a point, my friend.
Yeah, I've got an opinion here from Teddy Bettis1. And I'm not sure whether he meant this in a good way or a bad way, because obviously Creswell is a very split topic in our fan base. But he said Creswell's always been at the level he is at now. Marlo, we'll come to you first. I don't know what you think about that. I hope his Wi-Fi.
I think this season has 100%. This season has definitely been his best season for us in Claret and Blue. I wouldn't exactly say that he's always been at this standard. I think he's had on and off seasons. He's not the most consistent of players, and we can even see that now. But I just don't think that he's been at this standard for his entire time at West Ham. So yeah, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I thought personally, Creswell's best season for us was 14-15 or 15-16. And then after that, he went down the drain a bit. And I thought last season he was absolutely horrific. But this year I think he's been inconsistent defensively, but offensively brilliant. Gatesy, what do you think?
I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that his first season with us, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. The second season as well, I thought he was excellent. When we moved to the London Stadium, I did start to see a drop off, and I think that's when he got his first injury, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure. And I do think that last season, and I've said it a few times, I think last season a lot of the reason why he suffered was because a lot of the season he had Felipe Anderson in front of him who just offered him no protection. The fact that he's obviously 31 now, so his pace is starting to diminish. That's a fact, and it's something that we have to accept. So when he was getting caught, he would be moving forwards with the ball, the move would break down. He's not got anyone that's covering him. He's got to try and make up the ground, and he can't do it, especially if it's sort of like a fairly rapid right winger. So I think David Moyes has some way, somehow managed to rejuvenate him, whether it was by the fact that he put Pablo Fornals in front of him that offered him more protection, or the fact that he was moved to a left centre-back, change of formation, whatever it was, his confidence seemed to be restored to a degree. Now, his pace, he will never get back. Defensively, yes, you could still have question marks. There's been certain goals that we've conceded lately that have come down his flank. I mean, the Arsenal game, all 3 goals came down his side, if memory serves. So he has to take an amount of responsibility. I'm not going to say the blame, but because it's a team game, but he has to take a certain amount of responsibility for the goals that come down his side. But I think Cresswell's got another season or 2 left in him. In my opinion, I think he's still operating at a decent level.
His first 2 years, like I agree exactly what Kent said. He was amazing. I was surprised we managed to keep hold of him personally. I think a lot of the top sides were looking at him, but when David Moyes come in the first time, he got the best out of Cresswell when he converted him into the back 3, like what a few people have said, and he was amazing. But I think his form this year, a lot of it's down to Stuart Pearce. Stuart Pearce done exactly the same as him. He ended up moving back into that back 3 and had that freedom. Even in Claret and Blue, he had exactly the same thing. So me personally, I can't see him unless we desperately need him being a left back. He'll only be in the back 3 going forward, in my opinion.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Me and Kent are on the same wavelength tonight on Creswell. It said exactly the same thing. I didn't even see that comment.
Cahill.
Who? Yeah.
I agree with everything that's been said. He'll never reach that sort of 14-15 or 15-16 form where he was just he had the legs as well. He's never been the best defender, in fairness to him, but he certainly was better back then. But he'll never lose that technique of he has such a good technique and he has a great whip on him. Like he's a very good footballer, and he seems to switch off a bit when he's stuck in the left back because he doesn't have the legs for it, and he just I think he might switch off a bit. But when he sits in that centre back role, he's great. He gets, and when Rice is there especially, Cresswell can bomb up with whatever speed it is he uses. He bombs up, he can whip in the ball, and Rice will sit back in that centre back role and cover him. I don't think he'll ever be as good as he was when he signed, but that's not a bad thing. He was on England level back then, so I wouldn't say that he's as good as then, but this is the best we're going to see out of him right now. and I think he won't get better than this, especially with his age.
I'm just gonna, before we move it on to Tommy, I'm just gonna bring this next contributor in. He's in the green room and he's only got a couple of minutes. So if you gents don't mind, I'm just gonna bring him in. Mr. Fever.
How you doing? How you doing, man?
What are you up to?
Fucking in Primark, mate. In Primark, trust me.
I thought we interrupted you in the middle of a robbery or something.
Oh no, mate. Not yet. A bit soon. Do you know what I mean? What's occurring?
Well, West Ham Online's just put a point out. West Ham Online, do you want to put your point to James?
Yeah. Teddy Bettis won, so Creswell has always been at the level he is at now.
It's got better. It's got better. I wouldn't say like there was a time when 18 months ago we wanted him at the door. So yeah, like I disagree with that one. I think he's got better under Moyes. That's for sure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. James, I love the mask, by the way.
I know it's a West Ham one, mate. Obviously, do you know what I mean? Look.
Oh, you've been in the shop,
mate. You know me, mate. Trust me. You know what I mean? I had to. I had no choice. But yeah. So what else is there to discuss, gents?
Can we put that one back up a second, Gates, in a minute? That one I just saw about Ogbonna.
No, did you see that ridiculous comment about Ogbonna?
This one.
Yeah.
That's the worst take I've seen in a long time.
God, yeah, I agree there. I agree there.
I did sort of raise an eyebrow at that one, I got to say.
Yeah, there's a reason that's an unpopular opinion.
Yeah. Send out the men in white coats, shall we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know what he's been watching.
Yeah, I don't know how he's overrated.
Yeah, I think you're the only one, Tom, that hasn't made a comment on the Cresswell point that West Ham Online's made.
Disagree that he's always been as good as he's been this season. His form has been a bit up and down over the years. He's had some good seasons, some bad. This is one of his better seasons. I thought his best season was 15-16. I thought he was absolutely tremendous this season. And I'm very happy to say he's having a really good season, the current season, because it was a real worry for me before the season started that the left-back spot was going to be a real weak point. And it was going to cost us a lot of points down that side, because the worry was we were just going to have Cresswell and Masuaku was our potential left backs, and that neither of them really were good enough. Masuaku because he can't defend whatsoever, and Cresswell because he's past his prime. But thankfully, Cresswell is having a very good season. Now, I still prefer to see him as the left of the three centre backs. I trust him more there than I do as an orthodox left back, I have to say. I still think he's a bit vulnerable as an orthodox left back, so I do still worry about him in that position. But he is having a good season. But I disagree on the basic point that he's been this good all the time since he joined. He hasn't been. It has been a mixed bag with Cresswell. And to be completely honest, I think Cresswell should be a squad player next season. I think we have got to find a replacement for Cresswell this summer. If it's James's mate at Brentford, that's fine, so be it. He's obviously a talented left back, but whichever way Moyes decides to go, I think this should be Cresswell's last season as a starter at West Ham.
Yeah, I agree there, 100%.
I've got one that's popped into the comments. I'm going to put it up on screen for us, gentlemen, to discuss. Unpopular opinion. I'm not too sure this is myself. Soufal is top 3 most important players in our squad at the moment. I'm not too sure that isn't as unpopular opinion as it maybe the contributor might think. Andy, what are your thoughts?
He's definitely up there, isn't he? 100%.
Yeah, he's in the conversation. I mean, if you're talking about our most important players, I think you're talking about Ogbonna in the back line, definitely. We are conceding more goals since he went out. We're struggling a little bit without him defensively. We don't seem to be as well organised without Ogbonna. I think Ogbonna is crucial to the starting 11 because of what the experience and the quality that he brings in there, his leadership skills. Obviously, Declan Rice, hugely important player for us. Thomas Souček, hugely important. So I think they would be my top three. But I think after that, you're certainly into Sofel territory after those three for me.
Cahill, your thoughts?
Well,
Lingard now, of course.
I have him as my hammer of the year right now. It's definitely not unpopular. I don't know right now if he's top three, but he's definitely top 5, top 6. But anyone who's in the top 5, top 6 can be in the top 3 at any time. It just depends on form, and it depends on how we played the week before. Our minds could change on him next week, and we'll say, "Oh, he was our best player, and he's definitely top 3." But I wouldn't call it an unpopular opinion. I think I think right now they're all important. Like we have such a good squad and such a good unit.
I think there's I think there's a certain amount of players where if you find out they've picked up an injury, you're actually alarmed. It's like you're like, oh shit, no. And he's one of those players. I think definitely, like Ogbonna, you do not want to hear Ogbonna's injured. You don't want to hear Rice is injured. You don't want to hear Souček is injured. You would certainly not want to hear Lingard has picked up an injury. But I think Sofel is in that company. I think if we found out tomorrow Sofel has picked up an injury in training, I think that would be alarming. We would not want to be without him in the run-in. Let's put it that way. So certainly, there's no question he's a very important player for us. But look, you could debate about the top 3. Some people might have him in there, others not. I don't. I think he's just outside that as regards most important players. But yeah, he is certainly one of those players you do not want to see get injured.
James, your thoughts?
I think he's important to us. He is. I think Lingard's the main one though. Like at the minute in current squad, I think Kafau is. I think Dawson is at the minute. I think but Kafau's in the top 3 for me at present. Yeah, 100%. He's. There's no one else in that back line who's more experienced than him, really, other than Dawson. But obviously, Kafau's played at a high level, so.
Well, it says in the squad. I know you're kind of excluding injured players, but I was including I was talking about the entire squad. Like,
yeah,
so I was including Rice, and I was he was injured, and all these players. But.
In the current squad right now, he's got to be up there, isn't he? He's got to be even in the top 2, I would say. Like him and Lingard.
Him and Lingard are more important to us than Rice. I don't think so.
I agree with that. I think Fredericks is good enough as backup that you wouldn't put him in the top 2. I think you'd put Rice, Lingard.
Yeah, he can't defend though, mate.
Yeah,
Fredericks can't defend.
Yeah. Oh, come on, James. He's been good this season.
Good at what? Sitting on the bench?
When he played early in the season, he played well. Before
no, he did. I'll tell you what. Here's where I am on. Let me tell you guys where I am on the Sofel Fredericks thing. Okay. And I'd be interested to see what you think about this. I agree with you that Fredericks was playing very well early in the season before we signed Sofel, but he was playing very well as a wing back. Now I think Fredericks can play well for us as a wing back. I would not trust him. I agree with you, James. I would not trust him as an orthodox right back.
Yeah,
but I think he can do a very good job for us as a right wing back. But equally, I think Sofel, when he first came in, to the team when Fredericks got injured and we brought in Sofal and he started. I thought Sofal did okay at wing back, but wasn't brilliant. I thought he did okay. He was kind of good enough to get us by. But I expected at that time that Fredericks would replace him once he got back because he'd been playing so well there in the opening few games of the season before he got injured. But once Sofal moved back into an orthodox right back position, which is his natural position, he's been sensational. So if we're playing a flat back four, I do not want to see Fredericks playing at right back. But I would have no problem whatsoever seeing him play at right wing back because I do think he can play well there, and he's proven at the start of the season that he actually does play very well in that position. So that's kind of where I'm at on the Sofal Fredericks positioning thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Kent
I do.
Yeah.
I,
So Kent there, Antonio's in my top 6 personally. I don't know about you guys.
Oh,
yeah, I agree there.
I understand where you're coming from, but it's hard to put such an unreliable, injury-prone player in the top 6, the most important players. If he was fit all the time, and if he played at least the majority, if he played 30 games a season, I'd have no problem saying absolutely very important because he is brilliant when he's on form and he's playing week in, week out, and he's really at it. He's fantastic for us. He does a brilliant job, but I can't do it because he's just not available enough. And to be honest, Bowen has come in and done really, really well as a replacement.
Fair enough. Right. This is the last one I'm going to put up before I start to wrap it up, gentlemen. Felipe Anderson would be good and rejuvenated in our current team. So we'll start with you, James.
Not for me, mate. I think that ship's well and truly sailed, in my opinion. I think he can't handle the league. He can't handle the physicality of the league. And I think he needs to go to somewhere like the Dutch league, maybe Italian league, something like that, to sort of flourish. I think in the Premier League, I think he gets one knock and he's all over the place. The only problem is he's got no sell-on value at the minute because who's going to buy him? And that's the problem. So for me, he has to he either has to come back and sort of be re-energized or be loaned out again to somewhere else to boost his value up.
At the minute, how much, in your opinion, do you think he's worth? If we were to sell him in the summer, how much are we getting for a guy we bought for 35 mil?
10 quid.
Don't forget,
Probably.
yeah. Don't forget, he ain't played no games, is he? He played 4 games all season, so I don't think no one's going to buy him. Well, I think someone will loan him. It'll be another loan sign. Do you know what I mean? And someone in Italy or someone like that will come in for him and then decide to take him away. But I can't see no one dropping like 10, 15 mil that we want. So there you go.
Yeah. The main reason I disagree with that opinion is the manager of Porto has said, in particular, the reason why Anderson can't get in the team isn't because of his ability, it's because he doesn't work hard enough. I mean, that's literally what our whole team's based on. And there's a reason why David Moyes got rid of him in the first place. So I see absolutely no reason, despite what Alan Repzer was to say, why Felipe Anderson would do any good in this team. I just don't see it. I think the guy...
The only thing is there's no sell-on value. So, what do you... We're in a bit of a situation. What do we do? Loan him out and hopefully he flourishes on loan and flog him in January or something. Or we sell him now for like a very cheap price. Like something like 10 million or something. Do you know what I mean? And we're going to... So
Yeah. You remember, Gatesy, I spoke about this on a previous show with you.
I know you also did one with Gonzo, didn't you?
And I did one with Gonzo on Hammer's Chat about Felipe Anderson. And, my fear is that we're stuck with him. If you're thinking about it, if you're a manager of a club somewhere in Europe, on what basis would you buy Felipe Anderson and think he's going to come good? Like I said, it's one thing if he has a tough time at West Ham and then someone might be willing to take a punt on him and say, you know, we can get him playing. But given what's happened now at Porto, I think there are just a lot of red flags with Felipe Anderson right now with other clubs that would be looking at him. I don't actually think we're going to be able to sell him. I mean, it would
how much would you say, Tommy?
take.
How much would you say? How much would you say he's worth now on the current market?
I don't think we get more than 10 million, 10, 12 million for him. And that's
Right.
if we can find a club that are willing to take a 10 or 12 million pound punt on him. You know, we might not even be able to find a club that are willing to take the chance on him because of what's happened now at Porto. So this is two clubs now where it looks really bad for him. You know, and when the Porto chairman and manager have fallen out with him, and they're saying, you know, he's got an attitude problem. They're talking about, you know, they're maybe covering it up with he doesn't work hard enough. Not working hard enough is an attitude problem. You know, and I don't think we're going to be able to get rid of him. So our options might be that David Moyes just tries to get him going, tries to get him playing, or tries to find another loan club for him. We probably won't even be able to ask a fee for him on loan. We're probably going to have to say, literally, will you just take him, pay his wages, please? And whether we can even find that, I don't know. I suspect we might be stuck with Felipe, whether we like it or not, next season. So David Moyes might have no choice but to just try and somehow get in his head, get an arm around him, and try and get him playing.
He had to drop off. I don't know if you saw it in the private chat, guys. He had to disappear. It was not his battery, or he wasn't being rude or anything, but he had to move on. Milesy, Felipe Anderson.
He will be the perfect player to play in the European games next year. 100%.
Wasn't a Porto.
What if it's Champions League, Andy? What if it's Champions League?
So, but you could. We've got to be realistic on our budget. Like, we're going to probably waste probably what 60. I wouldn't say waste, but spend 60% of our budget on a striker. Desperately need a left back. That's another bit of money. And if we get Champions League, yeah, I wouldn't want him featuring in the Champions League squad, but Europa League, definitely, I think he'll do a job. When I've done the tier list with, I think he's got something, and if he's probably sitting there at Porto now, wishing he was back in this squad. And I'm not exaggerating. I think he's been ill-advised, like a lot of players have. Like when his sister and all that was getting involved in the move, and I think he I think he regrets it. And I think with the right guidance, the likes of Nolan, Stuart Pearce, I think we could get something out of him personally.
I'm not sure on what basis. I mean, look, I agree with you. Look, we all know talent isn't the problem here. Talent is not the issue, but I just don't know what would Moyes have to do to get him playing. It's the application of the talent. We've seen it with so many players. I mean, I just don't know, like, what's Moyes going to have to do to get Felipe Anderson playing the way he needs him to play.
If I had to pick in a European game, Anderson or Lanzini, Anderson for me all day long.
Oh yeah, I would as well. I think that Lanzini's well gone.
That's not. We're not going to be faced with, though.
Just before we carry this on too much, gents, I'm just going to bring. We've got someone in the green room who's just popped in. Let's bring him in, Mr. Peach. There he is.
What's up, everybody?
We're good, up? Mate.
Peach,
all good.
Yes, Irish Tommy in the place to be. How you mean, rocking on this MIC? What up, dog? You good?
How are you, fella? You good?
Yeah, to sum it up, man, Lingard's a gem. He ain't a Payet, but he's more of a squad player. Cresswell, he's doing well, man. Like, he's putting balls into the box like he did when he first came. And what was he, like 2 million? And that man that made the Ogbonna statement, piss off. And yeah, man, yo, and Felipe has bags of skill, dog. Felipe has bags of skill. He just needs to be. His energy needs to be put in the right way. And I do think Pearson Nolan could help do that. Real talk.
Peach, I saw his response to the the guy on Ogbonna when we were talking about his opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he'll take to what you just said, well, but
yeah. No, in fairness to him, and I'll just
I
wind
don't
back
care.
and get his
I don't care.
comment.
That was a stupid comment, Doc. If I was on the live chat, I would have said what I'm saying right now. It's a dumb comment.
Yeah. No, in fairness to him,
Ogbonna's been a rock.
In fairness to him, Igalo's better than Werner. Irish Tommy, don't make me feel upset. The Ogbonna opinion is just mine. Sorry for making you angry. So I don't think he was doing it to be provocative.
Not angry at all.
You know,
not angry at all. Not angry at all. But
I'm not
sorry,
angry
but
at all
that's
either.
I'm sorry.
Yo, wait till you see me angry. I'm not angry. I'm happy angry. If I'm angry, I'd burst through this YouTube screen and do something, dog.
Ogbonna could comfortably play for any team in the Premier League. Ogbonna would not look out of place beside John Stones at Man City. Not for a second. He's a quality centre back.
100%. Ogbonna would not look out of place.
Player.
He'd be better than Stones.
Yeah. And he could fit in a Liverpool team. He could fit in a City team, like you done said, Irish Tommy. He could fit in a United team. He could fit in a Chelsea team. He's magic, man. He's class. He came from Juventus, man. The boy has skill.
There's a lot of love for you in the chat, Peach. Scott's made his comment.
Big up everybody, man. How you mean, man? They're the ones that make all these things like good, man.
Absolutely. Cahill, your thoughts on Felipe?
I'd love to see it work out. I kind of agree with Tommy saying that I don't think anyone would buy him. I don't know. You'd be mad to buy him. But if someone came in with 10 million, I'd snap it up, because you'd get a better player with 10 million than Felipe Anderson is. But if he is to come back, and if there is no one to buy him, which I don't expect there would be, I think with all that we have, it's the best place he can be, and if it's going to work out, it will work out. I would like to see him come back and give him a go, because I remember when he went on loan, I don't think he originally wanted to go. He wanted to stay and fight for his place, and then he admitted when he went on loan, he said, "I'll be coming back, and I want to play for West Ham." I know it might just be him saying that, but I think he'll have something to fight for, and if he really does want to be a footballer, which he seems pissed off at being a professional footballer. I don't know how. But if this is what he really wants to do, he'll come back and show it.
So, Cahill, do you think, Cahill, sorry, just to follow up on that with you, if given the choice now, let's say in the summer, if there was a £10 million bid on the table and you had to decide, do I take this 10 million or do I take a gamble on bringing the best out of Felipe, particularly with needing a bigger squad going into Europe? Would you take the 10 million, or would you gamble on getting enough out of him
I'd
to
take
make
the 10?
I gamble.
I'd take it, because I think I heard that you can get Odson Edward for near enough 10 million. If you can get someone like him in, I'd rather someone like him who's going into a position where we're already not overloaded and we need someone, and he looks like he's going to be top notch. So you see, the thing is, I don't expect anyone to come in with money. That's why I'd like to see it work out. But if there is someone who gives 10, 12 million for him, I think we could get someone better and who actually seems happy to play and willing.
Yeah.
I wonder what the club would value him at, though. I wonder, would the club, given what we paid for him, I imagine the club would probably turn their nose up at 10 million, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm thinking
I'll
15.
put this
they have Tyler, basically.
Well, I'll answer that with this, Tommy. How much do Gold, Sullivan, and Brady value the club at? 600 million, and that's a club that doesn't own its own stadium. So I dread to think what they value Felipe Anderson at.
They probably want the 80 Real Madrid were reportedly going to pay, according to the Sun, back in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may be looking at trying to find another loan club for him.
Yeah. Thing is,
We
I
have
just don't
to-
think there'll be
a possibility would
I'd
be-
rather keep him than loan him though.
Yeah. I just wonder if there would be a possibility of loaning him back to Brazil.
Yeah, or maybe a Chinese club will be.
We'd be
stupid
paying all
enough
his
to come
wages
in.
then, though, if he was in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I've got to go.
There's no
lads.
point
See
having
you
him
all.
off.
China, maybe loan him out to China. They'll be happy.
West
to pay
Ham
his
Online,
wages.
thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for coming.
Big
Your
up,
internet
Alfie.
held out at least.
Thank you. See you later.
All right, mate.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
You know what? I take the gamble on Felipe Anderson because he does have bags of skill. And I also heard today, I sent you a link, KT. I sent you a link. Apparently, we're after Yeho Mario again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you what.
28 years old, Tommy. That's not that old. And
I
like,
know.
he's still-
I just tend not to like going back to players we've already moved on.
I agree.
I prefer not to go back to old players that way. I never wanted Payet back. I never wanted Arnautovic back.
I think Moyes would
I
have signed him though. If Moyes had stayed on, that wasn't. It's not going back to an old player in a way because
Yeah.
Moyes. That was a Moyes signing, and
It was.
Moyes' contract ran out. I think it's sort of. It's not like he'd be starting. I think he's more a Moyes player than like Pellegrini was hardly going to sign him after seeing him on loan. I think he'd be worth it on a free for sure. He has a few years left in him. He'd be willing to play his part, but not have to be a definite starter.
I don't think it would be a free though. I think it would be. I think they quoted like 10 million. I think they quoted 10 million because his contract.
I think his contract's
running
running out.
out. Free. Yeah. I
Oh,
thought
word
he was
up!
available
Then,
on
yeah,
free.
hell yeah! Come back!
Yeah.
Then, yeah, hell
Thing
yeah.
is,
look,
I
obviously,
agree with Tommy. I'm not a fan of players generally. I don't know
I hear
too many
you.
examples
I hear
of
that.
players that have come back to a club and have done either as well or better than they did the first time. There are exceptions, but in the main, players tend to have their first spell.
I'd
tends to be
usually
their
agree
best
with
spell.
that, Gatesy, but I think this is different though with the whole Moyes thing. I think
Me
Moyes
too.
didn't have a chance to sign him. I think it is a different sort of situation than that.
Yeah, look. To be honest,
True.
it's not a hill I'm willing to die on. You know, if we bring in Joe Mario on a free transfer, on a 2-year deal, fine. If Moyes thinks he can make use of him and he'll be a good squad member, you know, it's not a hill I'm willing to die on. I'm fine. I'm not going to complain about it really.
Tommy, I think he'd add. I think he'd add a bit of stability. I think he'd add a bit of stability, man. Honestly, I think Mario would add a bit of stability still, man. I really do. I really do. And with Lingard in the team, I think that might bring the best out of him.
Yeah, well, obviously, look, we're going to need numbers in the squad for the Champions League next season. So
yeah, that's
Fingers
another
crossed.
reason I'd like Felipe to stay because Champions League things, man.
Yeah. We're gonna do this as the last one before I wrap it up. I know I said the last one was the last one, but this one's just popped up, and this one seems to be a bit of a hot topic. It's quite a polarizing subject. I'll start with Peach. Thoughts on Ben Rama?
Oh man, it's like when he came here, I had so much hope and there was so much promise, and I wanted to see his tricks, flicks, and kicks and all of that. I don't know if he's too lightweight for the Prem, if he's not getting enough game time. But there's something awry. There's something awry with Moyes and him, man, because he's not starting him when he should be. He's bringing him on too late. The whole situation baffles my mind. I think he's need to be given a fair shot to show what he's worth, and he's not being given that fair shot.
Tommy, I know you had a bit of a discussion with Mr. Fever yesterday, but for the benefit of those that didn't witness it and get your thoughts on it, your thoughts on Ben Rama?
Yeah, me and James had a Bernie about this last night, which I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed. I love a good Bernie. Yeah, it's always a lot more fun to me when I argue with people on differing opinions. It's much more interesting to me than just the nodding dog thing where everyone agrees on everything. So that was fun. I think Ben Rama needs to step it up. I really do. I think he has had. I take James's point that he hasn't had lots of 90 minutes, over the course of the season, and he has done some very good things. There have been certain games which I think suit him. I think the way it Leeds really suited him because that was always going to be a really open attacking game. Leeds don't get numbers behind the ball and defending deep. So he was always going to have room to operate in. And I think in those games, Benrahma has shown that he is very talented and he has a lot of skill and he can really bring something to the team. The worry I have with Benrahma is in those tighter games where it's not open, where it's much more compact, where like the Leicester game at the weekend now, where both teams, ourselves and Leicester, were both using a high press. So, they were trying to kind of cut off the ball at source. They were trying to get the ball back high up the field. And I'm not sure he's ready for that at Premier League level yet. I worry about him in those games. I think he loses the ball too often. I don't know if it's whether he's trying to do too much or he needs to work on his decision-making when he's on the ball. But I think he needs to do a bit more for me before we can think about him as a kind of week-in, week-out starter. I do not think he's there yet. No, he might get there. 100% agree with Peach. He needs to bulk up. He needs to get on the steak in Guinness because he's too lightweight. I agree. I think he's too lightweight. He's too easily kind of muscled off the ball. So he's got to put some weight on. Got to put some mass on. If he can do that, and if he continues to improve, and I hope he will, and I think there's certainly room for him to improve, because let's be honest, it is his first season in the Premier League, and it is a big step up from the Championship. So by no means am I writing him off, but I do think he needs to improve if he's going to make it in the Premier League and start week in, week out for a club like West Ham. I'm hoping that he'll kind of be that Lingard coming in will be a bit of a wake-up call. Because he'll be looking at Lingard in training and seeing what Lingard's doing on the pitch in games. And he has to start thinking, okay, that's the bar. I've got to make myself like this guy. I've got to come on in games when I'm brought on as a sub with 15 minutes to go, and I've got to have an impact. And then when I get the opportunity to start, I've got to be doing stuff like this. And I'm not necessarily even saying he has to be as good as Lingard, but he's got to be making some kind of impression like that. Where Moyes is saying, wow, okay, I see you, Benrahma. I saw that goal. I saw that pass, that assist. If he can do that, Moyes will play him. There's a conspiracy theory going around, West Ham fans, but because he's not a Moyes player, Moyes just will never give him a chance or play him. That's not true. I don't believe that for a second. If he comes on and has a big impact and can do it regularly, he will win Moyes over and he'll play. But at the moment, he's just not quite there. So he has to work hard to get there. The ability is there. It just depends now on whether he's willing to put in the miles. On the training ground, come in early, stay late, put the work in, prove to David Moyes that you've got what it takes and that that you deserve to be there and that you should be getting more game time. He might do that. He might not. It's still up in the air for me.
Irish tea. Irish tea. He needs to get to your neck of the woods, have some Guinness, some steak, and some potatoes, and he'll fucking be fun. Trust me, man. Bulk the man up. Take him under your wing, dog. Bulk the man up. That's all. Like, yo, he got skill, man.
So bring him. Yeah, this summer, man. Bring him to the Tommy boot camp. I'm up for it, man. Let's do it.
Boom. I'll be your assistant coach, dog. I'll be your assistant coach, my dog. We'll put him through the drills. We will put him through the drills, man. Straight up.
Milesy.
Now,
I know you've got some thoughts on Benrahma.
Yeah, so I went on James's show earlier, and he got a few of the stats up on Hammer's polls, and we was talking about it.
Stats.
But no.
What stats?
Let me finish. The point I made was, in my opinion, Benrahma doesn't start when we play the top 6 side or the top 8 because he's not working hard. But the teams in the bottom half, he should be thriving, and he has. Like, for example, when we played Leeds, Sheffield United, etc. The point I'm making is it's his first year. I'm not going to judge Benrahma for his ability, his quality, his team effort until next year. As everyone says, everyone deserves a chance, and it will be the same time next year or January next year. That's when I'll start to judge him. He's definitely got the ability. He's probably one of the most skillful players at the club, and I just think he's been a bit unlucky with the chances what he has created for the likes of Antonio and Fornals, because I believe other people would be different if he had 10 assists to his name instead of the 4 what he's got. So that's my view on it. I've got to admit, like, there is something wrong there because of the amount of minutes he's playing, but I'm not going to take no notice until next year on that.
And as regards the assists, I take your point there. Actually, I think he did create a number of assists where chances were just fluffed.
Yeah, Tommy,
Yeah.
Tommy, I cancelled it. Fornals and Antonio, the chances what he missed, 6 of them were created by Benrahma, which have all hit the post or the woodwork. So, do you see what I mean? We would be saying something. Don't get me wrong, the goals do concern me, but 10 assists would make the hell of a difference.
Yeah, he's had some very bright spots and some really good games. And I think you're absolutely right. I think in the more open games, he really thrives, where there's a bit more space and time. But again, I wouldn't trust him in a big game.
That's what I agree. I totally agree on that. That's what I'm saying. If you look like what James said,
that's all I was really saying. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Andy. That's all I was really saying, is that he has work to do.
I understand.
If he wants Moyes to trust him in those games that really matter, like I would not play him at home to Chelsea. So if he wants to be a kind of player who wants to start at home to Chelsea, he's got work to do. Now he has time. Like you say, if he works hard, and he can get there. He can get there, and I hope he does, because he'd be a great asset for us.
And the one thing, sorry, mate. Yeah, the one thing I will say as well is we've seen Benrahma without a crowd. I think a player like that sometimes thrives from the crowd noise. Can you imagine 60,000 fans like cheering him on when he gets the ball and stuff? And the same as Soufal. I think Soufal will be even better. And
same as Lingard. I think Lingard would soak it up. I think Lingard would soak that up, man.
So yeah, I think next season, once we've got fans back, that's when we should start judging as well.
And
and to be honest,
Lingard,
I mean,
go on.
Sorry, Peach. To be honest,
man.
we may really need Benrahma to step it up, because there's no guarantee we're going to have Lingard next season. So if Lingard isn't with us for next season, if he decides to sign a new contract at United, for example, then really you're looking at Benrahma saying, right, you're next up, bro.
Yeah.
What you got? What do you want this?
Show us what you got, man.
How much do you want this? You know?
Because I think comparing Lingard to Payet, I think it's more of a comparison comparing Benrahma to Payet. Once Benrahma's at his peak, he has the ability to do a Payet. I really think so, man. Big up, Jake. But I really think so. He has the ability to do a Payet, man. And I think Lingard would soak up the crowd, like just, singing his name, us singing his name. And I think he'd soak that up, man. And you might even see a better Lingard next season if he signs, hopefully.
Yeah. So that's the last point I wanted to get. I'm not going to judge Benrahma until January next year, once he's had more games on his belt. Like you said, the summer, you never know. That could be the scientists and stuff at the club saying, you're not doing this. You need to do that. You need to be in the gym. You need to be doing. And then Moyes and the coaching staff will see that, like you said, with Souček and Soufal. If he's going in on his days off in the gym, working hard, that will make the difference, and that will only not benefit him, but benefit us.
100.
So
yeah, fingers crossed he'll get there.
I'm going to give the last word to Cahill.
Kaza.
I was on with James earlier. I was probably 40 minutes talking about Benrahma. So it's a tough one, because he obviously has the potential, and I'd love to see him work out, but he doesn't deserve it right now for the rest of this season. I can't see him coming into the team right now, and I think the summer is going to be essential for him. We're going to they'll have their few weeks off, and they'll get in, and I think that's when they'll get him working, and he'll know then. He'll know what's needed of him. He won't have the pressure of thinking, okay, I have a game this weekend. He'll know what's needed out of him. He'll work on it, hopefully. Next season, hopefully, he'll be firing. But I don't know if he suits us. I think we don't play enough football for a player like Benrahma at times. Like, that's why he only suits certain opponents. We're playing in a team that we're lucky to get 35% possession, 40% possession. We're probably averaging around 30 to 35% possession right now. We don't often have a lot of opportunities. He was like when he was at Brentford, they were a mad football playing team who would constantly have the ball. He'd have as many shots at it. Like I don't remember Benrahma ever having a chance to score. I think someone said something about Southampton, but I don't even remember it. I don't remember any drastic opportunities for him. He hasn't got himself in the positions to score as well.
Yeah,
I
I think if that's true, he's not a very good player.
That he hasn't gotten the opportunities to score.
No, I think if to play well, he needs to be in a team that has the ball all the time and is attacking all the time. He's not a very good player. Any half decent players thrive in that environment.
He might not be very adaptive. That's why I'm thinking he'd suit a team like Leeds maybe very well. A team that's playing football and are sort of. I think he could do the pressing. It's just I don't know if he suits us.
My only worry with Benrahma is attitude. Like it's like if I could ask him a question, I said ask Benrahma a question, but literally my only question would be like, how much do you want this?
Yeah.
Like, do you have that drive? Do you have the drive to really make it and become a great player? Because that's what it'll come down to. The talent is there. It's just up to him and what's in here. Does he have the drive? Does he have that determination? Look at Declan Rice. Declan Rice, when it comes to mentality, is a fucking machine.
Bad man.
Absolute machine.
Yep.
He is absolutely single-minded.
Yep.
And determined that he is going to be a great player.
Yep.
And in his head, nothing will stop him. He puts in the work. His attitude is absolutely spot on. He is relentless in his
100.
drive to be great.
Yeah.
Does Benrahma have any of that? Is the question.
He needs to adapt that.
So, in my opinion, Tommy, if you had to pick, if you were, say for example, I'm thinking further on the season. Let's just say Burnley at home, yeah, or Burnley away. Sorry. Where would you, if you wanted to fit Benrahma in a team, where would you play him? On the left, number 10, false 9. Where do you think his best position is for us?
Come on, Tommy.
I think if I'm playing him.
Come on, Tommy.
Okay.
Say
did
the
you
right
say
answer, Tommy.
Did you say away at Burnley?
Yep.
All right. Southampton at home.
Boom.
Okay, assuming. See, here's the thing: if everyone's fit, he's not starting for me.
Okay. Fornals is injured. Yeah.
Perfect.
Antonio's back.
Perfect,
okay. Fornals injured. At home to Southampton, I'm playing a 4-2-3-1. I've got Jesse Lingard in the number 10 role, free role. Benrahma's on the left of the three, with Bowen on the right.
That's where he played for Brentford. Boom.
See. I believe the teams we're getting too much respect, which means that a lot more teams are defending back, and the only real danger and threat we're providing is set pieces. Normally, I know the 3 goals we scored against Leicester counteracts that, but I think the teams in the bottom half that's where he will thrive. Anything above the top 10, I believe he will struggle, but he needs to work on that himself.
Do you remember, Andy? I think when I saw Benrahma at his absolute best was in that 4-2-3-1 away at Aston Villa, when he was on that left-hand side of the 3, and Lingard was playing in the number 10, and the way him and Lingard dovetailed was absolutely magnificent. I really liked the partnership I saw between Lingard and Benrahma in that game. And that to me looked very, very promising. So I think in that 4-2-3-1, if we can get Lingard on the left of the 3 and Benrahma on the left of the 3, Lingard in the 10, I think that could work wonders for us. And for example, away at Newcastle this weekend, right?
Yeah.
If, for example, Noble isn't fit, I would drop Fornals in beside Souček.
Yeah.
And I would actually play, and I would play a flat back 4, and I would have Benrahma in that left of the 3 and Lingard in the centre. I
And
would
they can
absolutely.
interchange. They can
I
interchange.
agree. I just don't think
They
it would
can
happen.
interchange and dovetail with each other, and I think they would rip Newcastle to shreds. Frankly,
Yep, I agree.
I agree 100%, but I don't think that's. I just can't see that happening. That's the only issue I have. I just couldn't see even Moyes doing it.
If Noble's injured,
I don't know if we. Noble, I think Noble was cleared fit. I seen something on Twitter tonight. I don't know if it's official though.
Cresswell's
but
out though, isn't he?
Yeah, Cresswell's 3 weeks. I don't think we're playing a back
How
four
about
for
this
the
then,
rest of the
Cahill?
season.
How about this then, Cahill? Because it's entirely possible Moyes could go back to a flat back four, right? It's possible. He might do it. And given
I know, yeah.
Given that Bowen now effectively is playing as a number 9 now, there's no reason you couldn't have Fornals playing in the number 10 role with Benrahma and Lingard either side of him, with Bowen up top.
Beautiful.
I think that's the best way to go at it, especially against teams like Newcastle.
Newcastle's got to win this. Newcastle's got to win this game. Newcastle's got to win this game.
They do, Milesy. Yep.
I just don't know if we're able if he'll play a back four, especially if Cresswell's going to be out, because unless he plays Ben Johnson left back.
I think he trusts Ben Johnson at left back. He's played him there before.
He does.
He played. Ben Johnson's played orthodox left back before under Moyes. I don't think he'll have a problem doing that.
Not at all.
He tends to play that role, Tommy, if I may point out. Doesn't he tend to play left back? He tends to play it against the Manchester Uniteds, the Manchester Cities, the Liverpools. That's when he tends to, and people tend to give him a bit more when it doesn't quite go so right. You know, people are jumping on his back and all the rest of it. But it's like what you got to realise is that the opponents that he's got in front of him, surely.
And plus, look, Cresswell's out. We know that. So if we're going to play with a flat back four, it's going to be Johnson at left back. It's going to be. Clearly, Moyes has no problem playing him there, so he'll do it again. And you know, I would actually love to see that 4-2-3-1 formation away at Newcastle. I don't think there's any need to have so many defenders on the pitch against them. Listen, I know they had a good. I know they had a good result against Burnley, but Burnley were shocking on the day. By the way, they were terrible. Their defending was woeful. So. I think we should go at Newcastle. We're better than them. We've got better players than them. And I think if we go 4-2-3-1 and then have Benrahma, Fornals, Lingard and Bowen up top, I think we beat them all day long.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. Irish T, is Ogbonna back in the squad for the Newcastle match?
He's back in full training, Peach.
Good.
So he's on grass. He's back in full training. So the question will just be his fitness. I suspect he'll have a late fitness test on Saturday. I think they'll do a late fitness test on him on Saturday morning and see how he does there. But at the moment, it's a touch and go. But I think his injury is cleared up and he's back in full training. So that's great to see. But even if he doesn't make this game, he'll be back for Chelsea.
Okay, that's where we're going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Bring on Chelsea. Bring on Chelsea, man. We have to do the Blues in, dog. We have to do them in, man. Beat Newcastle, beat Chelsea, and then win every other game and get into the Champions League. And watch a match.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. I mean, if we win Saturday, and we should win, if we win Saturday and go third, albeit I know we'll have Chelsea will have a game in hand on us, but that won't matter a shit because they can't catch us anyway. But Leicester, I know, can go point ahead of us again with a win, but they don't play. And just by virtue of the fact that we've won again and picked up another 3 points and moved into third,
we'll get in their head.
heaps the pressure on Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool. That will heap the pressure. They will all be looking at it saying, "Fuck, man, we better win this next game." We better win it, especially Chelsea. Especially Chelsea, because Chelsea will say, "Shit, West Ham have won again." Now they're 5 points, is it, above them? And we play them next at home. So if we win at Newcastle, we heap the pressure on the teams around us. So that would be a massive 3 points if we can get it.
Word up.
Absolutely. Before I wrap it up, gentlemen, I'm just going to do my usual shout out for those watching live and those that watch subsequently. We at Falls from Iron and the wider West Ham YouTube community, would implore any of you watching to put any spare funds that you might have towards this appeal here. It's for Isla Caton. She's a 6-year-old girl suffering from neuroblastoma, a really rare and aggressive form of cancer for which there's no treatment on the NHS. So her family have got to take her to wherever around the world to get the treatment to try and save her life. They've got to pay for the flights, the treatment, the accommodation, food, living costs. The bills are still coming in the UK, and you're doing this in the middle of a pandemic, guys. I think you can probably work it out. This is not really the time of their lives. We would ask you, there's a PayPal page, there is a Just Giving page there. If you have any spare funds, no donation is too small. Anything from £1 upwards would be gratefully accepted. The more the merrier. We would also ask you whether you can or whether you can't be in a position to donate, to take this message and send it to your friends, your family, your work colleagues, anybody that's in your contacts lists. We need to try and keep some momentum behind this appeal. We need to try and get this 6-year-old girl the treatment she needs to save her life. And it's no exaggeration to say, and I'll keep saying it, that every day that goes past where this girl doesn't get the treatment she needs to save her life, the odds are stacking up against her. So we need to try and get this done ASAP, guys. So we would implore you, please, to make a donation if and when you can. Thank you very much indeed for listening. So I'd like to thank the contributors. We've obviously got Cahill, we got Andy, we got Tommy, we got Peach with us. We had obviously West Ham Online, Milo, and James earlier with us. I don't think I've missed anybody out, have I? No, I think that's everyone.
Big up, Duke.
Thanks to you. And Duke, I'm sure he's at home watching, or he's cleaning out lines, or breaking out a fight that's in his car park like happened the other night. That's what happens. Thanks to all of you that have watched through the stream. Those of you that watch later, thank you very much. You can see the banner at the bottom. You've got our social media platforms. Please get involved. Follow the subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell icon. You'll be notified of any new content uploaded by Duke and myself. Comment on the video, like the video. We'd very much appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed for watching. And tomorrow, 8 o'clock or 8:30, isn't it, Milesy?
8:30. Yeah.
Yep, 8:30 tomorrow. Hammer Time of Their Lives. Season 1988-1989 is the season that we're reviewing. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Only one thing left to say, isn't there, guys?
Angelo Ogbonna is a boss man.
Love it. Take care, guys.